Hello everyone, this is Ginger from Webwench DIY Nails, and today I'm going to take you through an oval ombre I did for originally what was going to be a Halloween design where I had a purple base with a fade to black ombre around the whole nail. Here I'm just showing you a nail that I fixed in the video just before this one. I have a ballerina shape on my non-dominant left hand, and that's what I'm going to be working with. I start with 2 coats of peel base, and then I go right into, after letting each layer dry fully, then I can go in with my Concord and my Onyx from Cascade Colorworks. I love these powders. I just introduced myself to them a few weeks ago, and I'm even using their dip liquids here. I wanted to try their dip liquids because I heard they were easy to work with and thin. I want to keep my layers thin, so I gave them a shot. Start with a big mistake, this entire thing. When I use dip powders, I'm used to creating an apex by using this method where you don't go all the way to the cuticle on the first coat, and that helps build an apex that way. Well, what you see on my nails is builder gel, a few different colors of it. I'm growing out the purple builder gel by using clear builder gel, but anyway, you know that if you've been watching my videos. But when you do that, I have my builder gel contoured with an apex already. I don't need to build an apex, so this was a big mistake because it gave me a weird shape on my nails. So having said that, I go in with my first coat, the same on every nail. And these dip liquids are great. Nice. I was able to get nice and thin layers so that when I do the pour over effect with my fancy little spoon that looks like a magic wand. I have a weakness for all things purple, if you haven't noticed, by the way. So when I do the pour over with my spoon of the liquids, because these liquids are very finely milled, I get nice thin layers, which is always my goal. So after the first coat dries, I go in with a light brush just to make sure it's dry, and then you'll notice I go in with a stiff scrub brush or a stiff nail brush. Sorry for the road sounds. It's November 6th and it's 71 degrees here, so I don't know what to do with myself. My doors and windows are open. Anyway, the stiff scrub brush gets all the excess powder off your nails so that you're not contaminating your top coat by putting powder back in the bottle, and B, so that your layers remain thick. There's no extra powder there. You'll get less lumpy bumpies. So for the second coat of the dip powder with dip liquids, I go all the way to the cuticle and I make sure I get full coverage, because this is going to be the layer where I start the ombre effect. Very easy to get thin layers and full coverage with these powders and liquids. That part of this process was a great experience using these products. I'll link to them below if you haven't tried Cascade Colorworks yet. I get my trusty little ombre brush out, and I take their Onyx and I start scrubbing that into just the edges. Again, the idea for this nail design for Halloween was I wanted a pink background that faded to black around the edges, framing the design that I was going to put in the middle of the nail. So it looked framed, fade to black on the edges. I wanted to have a spooky kind of effect as a background for the nail design. So using my ombre brush, I took the Onyx powder and I scrubbed it into just the edges of the purple that I just put on there. Now, I started this process with the idea that I knew I would be doing a second layer. So I figured I would wait to see how the ombre worked on the first layer here, what I'm doing now. I was going to wait to see how it worked, how effective it was, before deciding how to apply the second layer. A lot of times I know what the process is supposed to be. I see other people's videos and how they do them, but I'm much more of a reactive artist, let's just say, where I wait to to see the full effect of the first coat before I decide on a method for the second coat application. That way I can adjust. Like here I can see the purple, but I can also see that I really darkened the purple by doing the ombre on the edges. So this makes me want to create some brightness in the purple color for the second coat so that it's more discernible. I felt like if I went too dark on the ombre around the edges with the black, I would lose all of the purple, and I don't want to lose all of the purple. My favorite color is purple. I work purple into almost everything just because I don't feel right without purple everywhere. So as I'm doing this first coat on the rest of the nails, the same exact way I did it on the first one for consistency, the whole time I'm thinking, okay, that darkens my purple. I want to bring the life back to the purple in the second coat. So the whole time I'm doing this, I'm formulating in my mind how I'm going to apply that second coat to get a little bit more purple out of this application. So I think you'll notice that because this is all going through my mind as I do this, I try to keep the black ombre a little bit closer to the edges, a little bit more controlled. I try not to scrub it in towards the middle as much as I did on the thumb. So again, to me, everything is a learning process. That's the whole point of this for me, to be constantly learning, to be constantly adjusting so that my methods and my skills evolve. Every time I do a manicure like this, it takes less and less hours because I do apply what I've learned from prior manicures to what I'm doing now. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I'm really good at this. I know I'm not. I'm still learning. I've only been at this since, June of 2022, so it's only been a few months. But I really enjoy it. I enjoy the learning. I enjoy the effect. I enjoy having my nails done again. And I enjoy not having to go to a salon to have them done, to be quite honest with you. And it's an artistic outlet that I find very relaxing and balancing. The time that I need to focus on my nails has helped me balance my brain a little bit from a very busy and intense day job that I have. So here I've done all the nails. Oh, I'm talking a lot. Sorry for that. I've done all the nails with the first coat. I scrub off all the extra powders that I've been scrubbing in. And I get a look at it, and I see that it is pretty consistent across all the nails, and I do want to bring out the purple more on all of them. So that helps me come to the conclusion that it's time for the second coat, to bring out a little bit more of the purple. And the way I do that is I decided to apply the colors, both of them, at least a little bit on the wet dip liquid. So I start by very strategically placing the purple into the middle, right onto the liquid. And then I do the same with the black. Just around the edges, I place the black this time on a wet dip powder. I'm not sure why exactly. I think because I wanted to, in my mind anyway, I knew I was going to ombre the purple in this time to make that the dominant color on this layer, because I don't plan on doing another layer of colored dip powders. So at this point, I've covered the wet dip liquid with the primary colors where I want them, and then I go in with the purple, and I go in heavy. Because, again, I want to bring the purple out in this manicure. So I go in with purple all over the entire nail after it's, been covered in at least an initial layer of powder. I brush that off, I take a look at what it did, and now I know where I need to ombre the purple into to make that the star of the show. So I start in the middle, and then I work my way out towards the onyx or black areas so that I'm ombreing the purple over the black edges, hoping to make that fade a little bit more favorable to the purple color. Now, never in any art class, I was an art major, so I can verify that never in any class that I took was it okay to start with the darker color first, because the lighter colors are not going to show up over the darker colors. But in this case, that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted the lighter color to blend into the darker color. So not exactly, I'm trusting the process here, you know, that's a big part of this. And I go and I do the same thing for every nail. And ignore the shape because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of filing, so that brings in the Dipster's To Be Clear clear powder to encapsulate my color, so knowing full well that I have a lot of filing and contouring to do. So I wanted to encapsulate, and since I've been doing so many gel manicures, I haven't been able to encapsulate in clear powder. So I was kind of looking forward to that, and I wanted a nice thick layer of clear because I knew I had a lot of contouring to do because I made that mistake in the beginning by building an apex with the powders. So I actually allow the nails to soak up the clear more so than I normally would. I had some filing to do. So I give the clear a minute to soak in and dry, and then I scrub them really well with the nail brush. And then I go in to do my contouring and shaping, and before I do that, I come in with the activator, and I made sure to use, I wouldn't say excessive, but I would say a very generous amount of activator to make sure that all of the layers get cured and hardened before I go in with my files. So at this point, we've let the activator harden the nails. And then I go in with my e-file, I do my contouring, I do my cuticle area to clean that up, and I remove all the excess dust with a hard scrub brush, and then I do my buffing. And again, the buffing is just to make sure that I'm putting my top coat over a nice smooth nail. When you're using dip powders and you've activated and you've finished your filing, you want to get your nails as buffed smooth as possible because the top coat's going right on top of that. With gels, it's a little different. With gels, you need to leave it a little bit rough so that your gel base has something to stick to, but that is not the case with dip powder liquids. So I clean off the nails, the dust and everything that I just created, and I make sure that push them away from the cuticle area. I don't want to push them up in there. So after I clean off with alcohol, I go back in again with another layer of activator because you're not so much trying to harden the nail, you already did that. This layer of activator is going to provide the chemical reaction that your top coat's going to need to fully cure. So you let that sit for a second, and then you go in once that's dry and you remove the excess with a clean lint pad. Then you put your first coat of top coat on, and you do that in 3 quick strokes just to get the activator working. Okay, you don't want to leave your brush on the nail too much at this point because you don't want to bring activator into your top coat bottle and contaminate it. So after every stroke of a nail with only activator on it, make sure you clean your brush off on that lint wipe before you put it back in your bottle. Once that's dry, you go back in with your second coat of top coat, and you can take your time this time because there's not as much raw activator on the nail that isn't already covered up by a layer of top coat. So the second coat of dip liquid top coat, take your time with, get around your cuticle, just do all your free edges, seal them in so that you don't get lifting as quickly, and look at the shine. Look at the shine on this. This top coat is amazing. I really wish I could use dip liquids more, but I find that my chest hurts after I use dip liquids, and I get very tired. I don't know if that's the dip flu. I just know that my body doesn't feel well for about a day after I use dip liquids. So back to gel I go, but I wanted to try it. I wanted to make sure that it was the dip liquids that bothered me, and I really do think it is, so I'm going to stick with gels for now. After it's dry, I go in with my cuticle oil. Cuticle oil is life. If you want your nails to grow strong and quick and keep everything easy for filing and shaping the cuticle later, healthy cuticles require nourishment, and that's what cuticle oil does. I rub it in. You know, you gotta give those parts of your nails a little stimulation and make them wake up and grow and do their job. And afterwards, I've got a interesting ombre effect here, because you'll notice that I filed into the color on the sides on 3 of the nails. I would prefer. I wasn't going to redo this manicure, and I knew that the contour is more important to me than the color at this point. I can adjust my designs. I cannot adjust the contour that I have to deal with for a week. If my contour is off, it's going to annoy me all week, and I don't need that. I have enough stress. So I favored the contour over the design. My idea for the fade to black design in the middle of the nail was shot. I couldn't do that now, so I came up with a little bit of a different design that you'll see in the next video, how I used foils and a little bit of striping tape to create a really cool design. If you like this video and want more like it, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Good luck, adventurer.